friends, and welcome to Coach by Tara, the podcast where Tara
Hi, that's me.
coaches me. Hi, I'm Mike on books and movies and other things that I don't know about. Today we are covering Twilight, Stephenie Meyer's Twilight, and that's chapter 20
Yes.
of the famous book about shiny vampire
Last week we did
people.
chapter 19 when we were not together,
Yes.
recording together.
Yeah, we were still like in a relationship.
Yeah,
Don't
I didn't
worry.
mean that.
Don't worry, everybody. We're not breaking up. Okay?
No.
But what we are doing is we're going to recap chapter 19 before we jump into chapter 20. So, and by we, I mean I'm going to do it because that's my job on this podcast. And Tara's job is to know things about Twilight, tell me about them, coach me on them, and be very pretty. So she nails all those. I just have to listen and recap things. So here we go. Chapter 19, Goodbyes. In chapter 19, basically they started to put their plan into effect to get Bella out of Dodge. So they go to Bella's house where she has to be very, very mean to her dad, Charlie, and basically recreate when Bella's mom walked out on Charlie.
It was kind of cringe.
It was very cringe. I hurt for Charlie, and then they left. Edward helped her leave. And then they went to Edward's house, where Laurent was there. Laurent. And he was like, hey, yo, I'm sorry. James is a kind of an a-hole. I only hang around him.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say James is kind of a cuck. I don't know why.
I don't know if he's a cuck. We'll see.
I don't think so. But I'm just saying, like, I think it's kind of funny that I thought you were going to say that.
James is kind of a cuck. And this is why the reason I hang out with him is because I kind of don't want to cross him because he's powerful. And I'm sorry, but someone's going to die. Is this girl really worth it? And Edward was like, ah! And he was like, okay, my bad, bro, my bad. So Laurent basically said, hey, I'm really interested about how you guys live your life. I'm not going to be involved with this. Good luck.
Like, maybe I'll go up to Alaska.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to Alaska. So...
Well, they're basically just finishing out the plan.
Yeah, they finish out the plan. They change the plan slightly where Edward and Carlisle get in a car. And get in Bella's truck. Right? No. Esme and Rosalie get in Bella's truck. Edward and Carlisle get in a car.
Do they?
With Emmett.
Do they get in a car or are they just running?
I thought they got in a car.
Esme and Rosalie will be taking your truck, he says. They were carrying a backpack, so they were running.
Oh, okay, so they were running.
Alice and Jasper are taking the Mercedes to drive south with the dark tint on it.
With Bella.
Yes.
And so they're basically just chasing James now as he chases Esme and Rosalie, thinking that is Bella. So that's kind of where we left off, right?
Like, the last thing that happens is, like, they are, like, Alice asks Bella to, if she can, like, grab her to run. I think they're just, like, running to a car. I don't know. But
yeah, they're running to the car.
Because they're driving to the airport, I should say. I don't think they're driving south, but...
Well, either way, we'll find out. What is chapter 20 called, dear?
Chapter 20 is called Impatience.
I'm thinking it's going to be Impatience on the side of Edward.
You think?
Because he's kind of an impatient boy.
He is. He's like no nonsense.
He's no nonsense. He's impatient. Kind of a D-bag. Anyway, Tara, are you ready to coach me?
No. Because you called Edward a D-bag. I don't think he's a D-bag.
Oh, like I see him. Anyway, Tara, are you ready to coach me
on
chapter 20?
So. Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll be right back.
Hey, Michael.
Yes, Tara?
Are you ready to be coached?
Yes, I'm very ready.
As he's been waiting for like 20 minutes for me to say something. I'm just looking at everything else in the room. Anyways.
All right, so, chapter 20 called what?
Impatience.
Impatience, yes.
Oh, you are feeling impatient?
Impatient. Weird.
Interesting.
Interesting.
So anyways, so basically the chapter starts off with Bella just waking up confused. So obviously it's like just started on the next day or whatever. She like wakes up in a hotel room. So she wakes up confused at her surroundings.
So we did a little bit of a time jump.
Yeah, a little bit of a time jump. She like tries to remember how she got there, which she doesn't remember at first, but that like because she's just in a sleepy haze. But then she's like, oh yeah, like she literally is just like,
right.
oh yeah, I remember the black car,
Mercedes.
and yeah, like darker, like with the windows dark. She fell asleep against Alice in the car.
Aw.
Yeah,
That's kind of cute.
She said, I remembered Alice sitting with me on the dark leather back seat. Somehow during the long night, my head had ended up against her granite neck. Because
her cold, hard
Yeah,
neck.
Exactly. My closeness didn't seem to bother her at all, and her cool, hard skin was oddly comforting to me.
Yes. Bella kind of into Alice, too?
No. No. Sorry. No. And then she like remembers that she had cried, like almost like she had cried herself to sleep, basically.
Cool.
On
Love
Alice's
that
shoulder.
feeling.
No, but they had driven, and she remembered like dawn breaking in California. Oh my God, I said breaking dawn. I didn't even realize it.
Breaking dawn?
She just remembers being like basically just like in a like sleepless haze, like the entire time they drove from Seattle. Goddamn, what am I talking about? Forks to Phoenix.
Okay.
So they get to Phoenix, and like by the time they get there, she's like had every emotion, right? She's replayed all the scenes in her head. Like she's just like feeling really worn out. But like I think and it just like describes all like the scenery of Phoenix, and I think she like feels like like she still like does like it there,
Right. That's the kind of weather she
doesn't feel like at home necessarily, but she's like, oh my gosh, like because it says like the bright open freeway seemed benign enough, but I felt no relief, no sense of homecoming. So like things were just too tense for her to feel like happy to be home. But I feel like the way that the author describes it's like still like, oh my gosh, look at that, and
wow, it's sunny and
it's
bright.
sunny, yeah, and it's bright, and there are the mountains and blah blah blah,
and cactuses,
and so
cacti, if you will.
Cacti.
Cacti.
The first dialogue says, "Which way to the airport, Bella?" Jasper had asked, and I flinched, though his voice was quite soft and unalarming. It was the first sound, besides the purr of the car, to break the long night silence. So they had driven all night long and all day. She just like gives him answers automatically. My brain had worked slowly through the fog of sleep deprivation. Are we flying somewhere? I'd ask Alice. No, but it's better to be close just in case. I remembered beginning the loop around Sky Harbor International, but not ending it. I suppose that must have been where I'd fallen asleep. So she was describing what happened earlier in the day, because she was remembering what happened.
Gotcha.
So she had no memory of like the room. That's why she was so confused when she woke up, because she was just like so sleep deprived, and like what an emotional day or so that it's been,
Right.
Oh baby, like she left Charlie, she had to say bye to Edward, they had to drive all that way, like that's a lot.
There's a lot going on. Someone's trying to kill her.
Yeah, not on top of all that, someone trying to kill her, like that's a lot. So it says, I looked at the digital clock on the nightstand. The red numbers claimed it was 3:00, but that gave me no indication if it was night or day. No edge of light escaped the thick curtains, but the room was bright with the light from the lamps. I rose stiffly and staggered to the window, pulling back the drapes. It was dark outside. 3 a.m. then. My room looked out on a deserted section of the freeway and the new long-term parking garage for the airport. It was slightly comforting to be able to pinpoint the time and the place. I looked down at myself. I was still wearing Esme's clothes, and they didn't fit very well at all. I looked around the room, glad when I discovered my duffel bag on top of the low dresser. Can I come in? Alice asked. I took a deep breath. Sure. She walked in and looked me over cautiously. You look like you could sleep longer, she said. I just shook my head. We'll need to stay inside, she told me. Okay. My voice was hoarse. It cracked. Thirsty? She asked. I shrugged. I'm okay. How about you? Nothing unmanageable, she smiled. I ordered some food for you. It's in the front room. Edward reminded me that you have to eat a lot more frequently than we do. I was instantly more alert. He called? No, she said, and watched as my face fell. It was before we left. She took my hand carefully and led me through the door into the living room of the hotel suite. So then Jasper was just like watching TV.
Well, I mean, what else is he supposed to do, you know?
Yeah, but he like wasn't like really watching it. He was just like, whatever, you know.
He's just like, I'm just turning this TV on for fun.
Yeah, he was watching the news, but with no interest, it says. And then she started to like pick at some food, you know, and they were both like, they were all kind of just like not watching the TV, but watching the TV. Bella's like, what's wrong, Alice? And she was like, oh, nothing's wrong. And because I think her eyes had gotten wider, like Alice's eyes, like, so she saw something. And it said her eyes were wide, honest, and I didn't trust them. What do we do now? We wait for Carlisle to call. And should he have called by now? I could see that I was near the mark. Alice's eyes flitted from mine to the phone on the top of her leather bag and back. What does that mean? My voice quavered, and I fought to control it, that he hasn't called yet. It just means that they don't have anything to tell us. But her voice was too even, and the air was harder to breathe. Jasper was suddenly beside Alice, closer to me than usual. Bella, he said in a suspiciously soothing voice, you have nothing to worry about. You are completely safe here. I know that. Then why are you frightened? He asked, confused. He might feel the tenor of my emotions, but he couldn't read the reasons behind them. Do you understand what she's saying, right? Like, it's a problem that they haven't called.
Right.
Because, like, the object is for them to just catch him there without them in town.
Right.
And they haven't done so yet.
Right.
You heard Laurent said. My voice was just a whisper, but I was sure they could hear me. He said James was lethal. What if something goes wrong and they get separated? If something happens to any of them, Carlisle, Emmett, Edward, I gulped. If that wild female hurts Esme, my voice had grown higher, a note of hysteria beginning to rise in it. How could I live with myself when it's my fault? None of you should be risking yourselves for me. Bella, stop, he interrupted me, his words pouring out so quickly they were hard to understand. You're worrying about all the wrong things, Bella. Trust me on this. None of us are in jeopardy. You are under too much strain as it is. Don't add to it with wholly unnecessary worries. Listen to me, he ordered, for I had looked away. Our family is strong. Our only fear is losing you. But why should you? Alice interrupted this time, touching my cheek with her cold fingers. It's been almost a century that Edward's been alone. Now he's found you. You can't see the changes that we see, we who have been with him for so very long. Do you think any of us want to look into his eyes for the next 100 years if he loses you? Wow. True.
Fair.
My guilt slowly subsided as I looked into her dark eyes, but even as the calm spread over me, I knew I couldn't trust my feelings with Jasper there. So she was like, am I feeling calm because Jasper's here, or am I feeling calm because I'm actually calmed by this?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah. So they continue to stay in the day. They have to keep the window shut because it's so sunny and the TV on, even though nobody watched it. You know, like food was delivered for her, you know, every once in a while. And
it's like prison.
Yeah. The silver phone resting on Alice's bag seemed to grow bigger as the hours passed. So they're just all waiting.
Wait, they have a magic phone?
No.
I know, I'm kidding.
A magical growing phone.
It gets bigger, and then when they finally get the call, it shrinks again.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Magical. So she's saying, like it says, my babysitters handled the suspense better than I did. As I fidgeted and paced, they simply grew more still, two statues whose eyes followed me imperceptibly as I moved. So she was just like so bored, like memorizing the curtains, memorizing the pattern on the wall, memorizing, you know.
They should have brought like Monopoly or something.
Yeah, they should have brought like some board games. Yeah. I would play like a mean Yahtzee for a while. Yeah. Or like 15 Yahtzees.
20 Yahtzees?
Yeah. And it says like as the afternoon went on, like she went back to bed because she was like, I just don't have anything else to do, like but sleep, right? And Alice had followed her, and they were just kind of hanging out in the room. But then she says, "Alice," I asked. "Yes." I kept my voice very calm. "What do you think they're doing?" Carlisle wanted to lead the tracker as far north as possible, wait for him to get close, and then turn and ambush him. Esme and Rosalie were supposed to head west as long as they could keep the female behind them. If she turned around, they were to head back to Forks and keep an eye on your dad. So I imagine things are going well if they can't call. It means the tracker is close enough that they don't want him to overhear. And Esme? I think she must be back in Forks. She won't call if there's any chance the female will overhear. I expect they're all just being very careful. Do you think they're safe, really? Bella, how many times do we have to tell you that there's no danger to us? Would you tell me the truth, though? Yes, I will always tell you the truth. Her voice was earnest. I deliberated for a moment, and she decided that she meant it. Tell me, then, how do you become a vampire? Just like laying it out there, right? Because she
wants to get suckied.
She's never gotten the true answer, right? She's never asked.
Right, they've all just been like, it's difficult.
Mm-hmm. My question.
Sucky is difficult.
My question caught her off guard. She was quiet. I rolled over to look at her, and her expression seemed ambivalent. Edward doesn't want me to tell you that, she said firmly, but I sensed she didn't agree. That's not fair. I think I have a right to know. I know. I looked at her waiting. She sighed. He'll be extremely angry. It's none of his business. This is between you and me. Alice, as a friend, I'm begging you, and we are friends now somehow, as she must have known we would be all along. She looked at me with her splendid wide eyes, choosing. I'll tell you the mechanics of it, she said finally, but I don't remember it myself, and I've never done it or seen it done, so keep in mind that I can tell you only theory. I waited. As predators, we have a glut of weapons in our physical arsenal. Much, much more than really necessary. The strength, the speed, the acute senses, not to mention those of us like Edward, Jasper, and I who have extra senses as well. And then, like a carnivorous flower, we are physically attractive to our prey. I was very still, remembering how pointedly Edward had demonstrated the same concept for me in the meadow. She smiled a wide, ominous smile. We have another fairly superfluous weapon. Is that how you say that?
Superfluous?
Superfluous? Superfluous weapon.
Suburbulous?
Yeah.
Superfluous?
We're also venomous, she said, her teeth glistening. The venom doesn't kill. It's merely incapacitating. It works slowly, spreading through the bloodstream, so that once bitten, our prey is in too much physical pain to escape us. If we're that close, the prey doesn't escape. Of course, there are always exceptions. Carlisle, for example. So, if the venom is left to spread, I murmured. It takes a few days for the transformation to be complete, depending on how much venom is in the bloodstream, how close the venom enters to the heart. As long as the heart keeps beating, the poison spreads, healing, changing the body as it moves through it. Eventually, the heart stops and the conversion is finished. But all that time, every minute of it, a victim would be wishing for death. I shivered. It's not pleasant, you see. Edward said that it was very hard to do. I don't quite understand, I said. We're also like sharks in a way. Once we taste blood, or even smell it for that matter, it becomes very hard to keep from feeding, sometimes impossible. So you see, to actually bite someone, to taste the blood, it would begin the frenzy. It's difficult on both sides, the bloodlust on the one hand, the awful pain on the other. So that's the full description. I didn't even remember that they described it in this book. Because I don't think they describe it in the movie. I don't even think this chapter exists in the movie. Why do you think you don't remember? I don't know. For everyone else, the pain of the transformation is the sharpest memory they have of their human life. Because their other human memories are blurry to them. I remember nothing of being human. Her voice was wistful. We lay silently, wrapped in our individual meditation. So that was like really the end.
They were just chilling.
Yes. Then, without any warning, Alice leaped from the bed, landing lightly on her feet. My head jerked up as I stared at her, startled. Something's changed. Her voice was urgent, and she wasn't talking to me anymore. She reached the door at the same time Jasper did. He had obviously heard our conversation and her sudden exclamation. He put his hands on her shoulders and guided her back to the bed, sitting her on the edge. "What do you see?" he asked intently, staring into her eyes. Her eyes were focused on something very far away. I sat close to her, leaning in to catch her quick, low voice. "I see a room. It's long, and there are mirrors everywhere. The floor is wooden. He's in this room, and he's waiting. There's gold, a gold stripe across the mirrors. Where is the room? I don't know. Something is missing. Another decision hasn't been made yet. How much time? It's soon. He'll be in the mirror room today, or maybe tomorrow. It all depends. He's waiting for something, and he's in the dark now." Jasper's voice was calm, methodical, as he questioned her in a practiced way. "What is he doing?" "He's watching TV? No, he's running a VCR in the dark in another place. Can you see where he is?" "No, it's too dark." So she's like Jasper is so used to getting these like visions of the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's asking her all the right questions.
He knows the questions to ask, yeah.
In the mirror room, what else is there? Just the mirrors and the gold. It's a band around the whole room, and there's a black table with this big stereo and a TV. He's touching the VCR there, but he doesn't watch the way he does in the dark room. This is the room where he waits. Her eyes drifted, then focused back on Jasper's face. "There's nothing else?" She shook her head. They looked at each other motionless. "What does it mean?" I asked. Like what the fuck?
What the fuck? He watches from the dark.
Yeah, it's like
the
weird.
The mirrors and the gold.
So she's like,
the VCR.
When I read this originally, like, because in the book I picture it like different than how they portray it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But in my head, when I read the book, I pictured it as like her just getting like kind of like how it feels like when you wake up from a dream and you're trying to piece together like your memories. Like that's kind of how I thought like her visions would be like, you know. But I don't know that it's really like that. I just wanted to say that.
It's tough to know.
It's tough to know.
We had to ask Stephanie Meyer herself.
Yeah, we would have to do that. So basically it meant like, you know, the tracker's plans had changed. He made a decision that will lead him to the mirror room and the dark room, but they don't know where those dark rooms are.
Right.
And they don't know like what's missing about it. But Alice was like upset because she's like, but we do know that he's not going to be in the mountains north of Washington. Like that's clear because he's not in the woods. Like he's in a room.
But what if that room is in Washington? That doesn't make sense.
She just feels like
that's
it isn't.
It's a weird deduction to make.
It's a deduction she made. And then Bella's like, well, should we call them? And then the phone rang. So Alice is, it says Alice was across the room before I could lift my head to look at it. It was so fast. And then it was Carlisle. She didn't seem surprised or relieved the way I felt. "Yes," she said, glancing at me. She listened for a long moment. "I just saw him." She described again the vision she'd seen. "Whatever made him get on that plane, it was leading him to those rooms." She paused. "Yes," Alice said into the phone, and then she spoke to me. "Bella?" She held out the phone toward me. I ran to it. "Hello?" I breathed. "Bella?" Edward said. "Oh, Edward, I was so worried." "Bella," he sighed in frustration, "I told you not to worry about anything but yourself." It was so unbelievably good to hear his voice. I felt the hovering cloud of despair lighten and drift back as he spoke. So he's like, they're just like having a conversation about what happened. And I'm not going to read all of it because it's a lot, but he's just like really sorry because he's like, we lost him. Like, you know, we tracked him outside of Vancouver. So they were like all the way up in Canada. And James seems suspicious of them. So he like took off basically and he got on a plane. So they don't know where he's going. But
they didn't see where the plane was going?
No, it just says it looks like he got on a plane. We think he's heading back to Forks to start over. She's like, well, I know Alice knew that he got away. So she must have seen the plane, but I don't remember reading that part. And he's like, but don't worry. Like, he can't find anything that will lead him to you. You just have to stay there and wait till we find him again. And then she's like, okay, well, what about Charlie? Like, he's been there the whole time. And he's like, okay, yeah, the female vampire has been in town, but Esme and Rosalie have been taking watches, like watching over his house. So he's been okay. And it's clear that they have determined that the woman is trying to pick up the trail of Bella. What she thinks was Bella, but it was actually Rosalie and Esme with a truck. So she's like going through, like, she had gone to the airport and all the roads around town and school. Like, she's trying to figure out where Bella is. And Esme's been, you know, with Charlie most of the time. And, you know, she's like, I miss you. It's been too long. It's only been a day.
Classic Bella.
And he says, I know, Bella. Believe me, I know. It's like you've taken half myself away with you.
Oh, my God.
Come and get it, then, I challenged. Soon as I possibly can, I will make you safe first. His voice was hard. I love you, I reminded him. His voice was
cold and hard.
Could you believe that despite everything I've put you through, I love you too? Yes, I can, actually, she says. I'll come for you soon. I'll be waiting. And then it's over. The conversation's over.
He said,
it's
bye,
over.
bitch.
No. Yeah, no.
Bye.
So then she turns to give the phone back to Alice and realizes that Alice is sketching. So she's sketching
what she saw.
Because she's like, I'm assuming so it's other people can like understand what she saw, because it doesn't seem.
This is me sketching.
It doesn't seem real. It's funny because it's not very unsimilar to what happens in the movie. So it says she drew a room, long, rectangular, with a thinner, square section at the back. The wooden planks that made up the floor stretched lengthwise across the room. Down the walls were lines denoting the breaks in the mirrors, and then wrapping around the walls, waist high, a long band. The band, Alice said, was gold. It's a ballet studio, I said, suddenly recognizing the familiar shapes. So, like, it was mirrors along the walls and then a long gold bar. They looked at me surprised. Do you know this room? Jasper's voice sounded calm, but there was an undercurrent of something I couldn't identify. Alice bent her head to her work, her hand flying across the page now, the shape of an emergency exit sign taking shape against the back wall, the stereo and TV on a low table by the right front corner. It looks like a place I used to go for dance lessons when I was 8 or 9. It was shaped just the same. I touched the page where the square section jutted out, narrowing the back part of the room. That's where the bathrooms were. The doors were through the other dance floor. But the stereo was here, I pointed to the left corner. It was older and there wasn't a TV. There was a window in the waiting room. You could see the room from this perspective if you looked through it. Alice and Jasper were staring at me. Are you sure it's the same room? Jasper asked, still calm. I mean, no, not at all. I suppose most dance studios would look the same. The mirrors, the bar. It's just the shape that looked familiar. I touched the door, set in exactly the same place as the one I remembered. Would you have any reason to go there now? Alice asked. No, I haven't been there in almost 10 years. I was a terrible dancer. They always put me in the back for recitals, obviously, because she's so quirky and clumsy.
Tip of her own feet.
So there's no way it could be connected with you, Alice asked intently. No, I don't even think the same person owns it. I'm sure it's just another dance studio somewhere. Where was the studio you went to? Jasper asked in a casual voice. It was just around the corner from my mom's house. I used to walk there after school, I said, my voice trailing off. I didn't miss the look they exchanged. Here in Phoenix, then? His voice was still casual. Yes, I whispered. 58th Street and Cactus. We all sat in silence, staring at the drawing. Alice, is that phone safe? Yes, she reassured me. The number would just trace back to Washington. Then I can use it to call my mom. I thought she was in Florida. She is, but she's coming home soon, and she can't come back to that house while... And then she's like, oh my God, she can't come back to the house while everything is going on, right? Mm-hmm. How will you reach her? They don't have a permanent number except at the house. She's supposed to check her messages regularly. Jasper, Alice asked. He thought about it. I don't think there's any way it could hurt. Be sure you don't say where you are, of course. So she basically is calling her mom's voicemail message at the home in Phoenix, and then her mom checks the message, calls in to check the messages like you used to do. I feel like that's a thing that people used to do, right?
Definitely.
So she just says, Mom, it's me. Listen, I need you to do something. It's important. As soon as you get this message, call me at this number. Alice was already at my side writing the number for me on the bottom of her picture. Please don't go anywhere until you talk to me. Don't worry, I'm okay, but I have to talk to you right away, no matter how late you get this call, all right? I love you, Mom. Bye. So that's basically it with that. But so she's like,
what is she even gonna tell her though? There might be a mean vampire man.
I really don't know like what she's trying to think she would tell her, but I think in the movie she explains what she was gonna tell her, but I don't remember what that is.
Okay. Don't go home. There might be a vampire, Mom.
So then they're back to watching the news and all the boring shit, you know.
Right. They were like, all right, well, we did all we could do.
Yeah, and that's basically the end of the chapter.
Oh, okay.
They get back to all watching the TV, and she falls asleep on the couch waiting for the phone to ring again. The touch of Alice's cold hands woke me briefly as she carried me to the bed, but I was unconscious again before my head hit the pillow.
All right.
Yeah, so...
Impatience.
Like, it's basically just a full chapter of them doing nothing, but waiting for a freaking phone call.
Just hanging out. Should have brought their Nintendo Switches.
Yeah, honestly.
They could have played some Mario Kart.
Some Mario Party.
Turn their cheats on.
I'm going to turn my cheats on and play Mario Party. Mario Parties.
Yeah. That's Mario is the knockoff Mario.
Yeah, and then that's what they have in the book because they can't write about trademarks, right?
Yeah, and there's Mario and Luigi and Big Turtle Mane. And Yoshki.
Yocher.
Yoshki.
Oh, Yochki.
Yoshki and Monkey Kong. Monkey Kong.
Donkey King.
Donkey Kang. Did you ever see that? This is a total complete sidebar, but that Jeopardy when it was the clue was for Sonic the Hedgehog. Like it was clearly Sonic the Hedgehog if you knew anything. And they wrote, "What is Donkey Kang?"
I don't think I've seen that. Is that a meme?
It's so old. It really happened.
Oh my god.
What is Donkey Kang?
What is Donkey Kang? I bet Alex was like, what the fuck, these idiots?
Yeah, he's like, how do you not know Sonic the Hedgehog, you fucking plebe? Anyway, rest in peace, Alex. Miss you, buddy.
Miss you so much.
Wow, that chapter was... I really liked that chapter, even though not a lot happened.
Yeah, you seemed enraptured. You didn't really say much.
I was just letting you do your thing. Mm-hmm. I said things.
I know, you did say things.
I was just listening. I was being a good listener. But yeah, so I'm excited. I think... Based on... Actually, we got to talk about the schedule real quick. So
yeah, let's talk about the schedule.
Next week...
But you don't want to predict what's going to happen?
What I was going to say is as maybe the next chapter picks up, but I think it's based on the way you set up the schedule. It's probably going to be the chapter after that.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
But I do think... Okay, here's my one prediction before we talk about the schedule.
Okay.
My one prediction is that there is going to be some sort of showdown in this ballet arena. This ballet studio.
Arena, there's the seating. Stadium seating at this ballet arena.
Download the new mobile game, Ballet Arena. But yeah, no, in the studio, there's going to be some sort of showdown between James and our crew.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Okay. That's a good guess.
Thank you. I will say he's probably going to kidnap the mom too. So our schedule. Next week, we'll have a normal episode of CBT, the next chapter, chapter 21.
Yes.
Which is titled... You don't say that yet. We say that in the next episode. But it'll be chapter 21.
And that will come up, February 16th.
February 16th, so next week, Tuesday, as always. Then, the week after, February 25th.
Yeah, it's not a Tuesday. It's a Thursday, because that's when I'm out of work for the week.
It's a Thursday, but at 6:30-ish p.m., it will be probably after 6:30 sometime, but we'll narrow down the time at least the week of, the day of, something like that.
It really just depends on the weather, how fast I can get out of work and into another place.
6:37, let's say that. We will be doing the first ever live episode of the Coached by Tara podcast.
I'm nervous.
On twitch.tv/Super SpikeGhetti Bros. And Tara will be taking us through chapter 22
and
23 live on stream.
And I'm very nervous.
Tara's very nervous, but it's going to be easy. We're going to have a good time. We're going to hang out with the people in chat. We're going to discuss it. Please don't bring any spoilers or anything.
Oh my God. If you bring any spoilers for the whole series, I'm going to ban you immediately.
I will have Tyler in the chat, a mod, and he will ban anybody who spoils anything.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He will just ban you instantly. But we're going to do the live episodes. Then we'll have one more normal episode of CBT the week after.
No. Oh, yeah.
The week after, the Tuesday after, it'll be another pre-recorded episode of chapter 24.
Correct.
Then the week after
and that's technically the last chapter. But then the week after that, another time on a Thursday, because that's when I got
Thursday, we will be doing...
Thursday, March 11th.
The epilogue.
Yes.
And we will be doing the watch-along of the movie.
Yes.
I haven't exactly ironed out how we're doing it.
I think what we're going to have to do is all watch it separate somehow.
No. What we're going to do probably is on Discord. You'll have to join our Discord, but on Discord, I can stream anything on Discord. So
you can?
Yeah, so what will happen is you guys will be able to hear me and Tara talk. You'll be able to hear the movie and watch it. And then you'll be able to chat in the Discord, just like it's Twitch. We will also be recording that and releasing it as an episode, and we'll do the whole thing where we tell you, okay, we're going to watch the movie now. Press play on 3, 2, 1, play.
So you can watch along.
So if you don't make it to the live watch along, you can still do a watch along with us.
That's a good idea.
So that's probably what we're going to do. We were going to do it on Twitch, but Prime got rid of Twilight on there.
Which is stupid. They had it on there like perfectly for us, and then they got rid of it.
They got rid of it. So that's not going to work. But that's okay, because that means everybody can participate, even if they don't have Prime.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but yeah, that's probably what we're going to do. Then we are going to take a
2-week-ish break.
A 2-week break to get ready for season 2 of CBT.
Twilight New Moon.
Twilight New Moon, baby.
Which I'm so oh my God, I can't wait.
I can't believe we're almost done with this book.
I don't know. I think that New Moon might be one of my I think it might be my favorite of the books. I don't know for sure though.
You like the moon, huh?
I like the moon.
Would you say the moon exhilarates you?
Yes. I am Sykes.
We are going to name the baby Isa.
No.
Anyway, thank you, Tara, so much for coaching me this week. We will be back next week with chapter number 21.
Yes, in chapter 21.
Chapter 21. Thank you, Tara, for coaching me.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Getting confused. Why don't I remember?
Do you want to redo it with "Hi, that's me"?
Can we listen to one back? I'm kind of confused. I'm just confused. I don't want to listen to my actual voice. Why do I think it's different?
Actually, it's just been books.
Okay.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Coached by Tara, the podcast where Tara.
Hi, that's me. I say hi. I say hi. Okay. Are we keeping all this in it?
No.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Maybe. We'll see.